Well, hello there my loves, thank you for watching today's video and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to finally be answering the question, what has worked for you and how is it that you're finally free from clinical depression? And firstly, thank you so much for many of you writing in, messaging me, asking me to make a video about this. Of course I'm more than happy to share information about what has worked for me and give you some suggestions as to things that you could go out and research yourselves. What I will say before I get into the content of the video is a disclaimer, which is that I'm not a medical doctor, and I think it's important that you understand that nothing that I say is prescriptive. These are things that have worked for me, that have worked for my clients. So anything that I suggest to you, I also suggest that you do some research around it and see what's going to be beneficial for you. I also want you to understand something very important, that nothing that I say is intended for you to go out and stop your course of treatment as you're, in terms of what you're doing at the moment. Do not change your course of treatment without your guidance from your medical practitioner. If you're working with a counsellor, a GP, a psychologist, psychiatrist, whatever the case may be, if you are experiencing clinical depression and you are already under the care of a medical practitioner, I want you to make it very clear that it's important that you continue your course of treatment with them, and also then perhaps discuss with them about alternative treatments, about alternative ideas, about alternative therapies that you could look at, so that you can actually start looking at other ways to manage your depression. And with me, it was about the things that I did to help me actually finally be free from clinical depression. So if that's something that you're interested in, then carry on watching and find out more about what I did and how I've got from there to where I am today. So with that being said, I do want to warn you that this might be a little bit of a longer video than I normally make. I do try and keep my videos like under 10 minutes, I feel sometimes, but hey, nobody's perfect. But I want to give you as much information as I can. So I'm going to give you as much as I can, and hopefully you'll take away what is going to be useful and beneficial for you. So one of the first things that I did after reaching out for help, and if you've watched my other videos and read my blogs, then you'll know a bit more about that. And if you haven't, I'll link those in the description below. But one of the things that I did after reaching out for help and getting support with what I was going through was take medication. And the medication that I took, it took quite a bit of time to find the right one. So, it's important to understand, one of the things that I've seen time and time again with people who are experiencing clinical depression is that they hope to take an antidepressant or some medication and for it to be like a magic wand and then it fixes everything and they're feeling fine straight away. It's not the case, and something that you kind of need to be and really understand is that it can take some time, not only to find the right medication, but also for that medication to actually start to kick in. As they say, a period of adjustment of between 4 and 6 weeks for it to start to actually help to stabilise and perhaps normalise your mood. So bear that in mind. And also I would recommend doing a bit of research on what medications are out there, what the side effects are. The one that I used that eventually I found that really worked for me was, I believe, fluoxetine hydrochloride, or the common name is Prozac. And I was on medication for 8 years, but it helped to stabilise my mood. Now, one of the other things that it did, which probably perhaps was a bit of a downside about the medication, was that although it stabilised my mood, it kind of numbed me out to everything. So although I wasn't experiencing the devastatingly low lows that I used to experience, I kind of wasn't really experiencing much joy either, simply because for some reason I just seemed to feel quite numb a lot of the time. And that was one of the side effects that I experienced. So do some research and find out about the side effects that you might experience, how long it's likely to take for the medication to kick in, and find out a bit more about it. Do your research. That would be something that I would recommend that you do. So another thing that I tried was counselling, and the counselling that I tried or was able to access was person-centred counselling. Now, there are different types of counselling. Again, do your research. And for those of you who don't know, person-centred counselling is really kind of client-led or patient-led, where you can go into a session with your counsellor, you talk if you want to, you don't talk if you don't want to, and it's very much directed by the client. You talk about the things that you want to talk about. Now for me, I guess, again, different types of counselling will work best for different types of people, different types of personalities, but for me it didn't work so well because I've shared previously that one of the reasons I found it less easy to even in the first place open up about the fact that I was experiencing clinical depression was because as a result of psychological abuse, ongoing psychological abuse that I experienced in my childhood, which made it less easy for me to actually open up and talk about what was going on. Now you might find that less easy to believe because here I am on camera shooting videos and, you know, on a YouTube channel. But it's taken a lot of work for me to get here, and it was up until quite recently that I started to believe that it was going to be possible for me to even start to open up and share the things that I'd been through. And to, you know, that a few years ago, the thought of doing a YouTube channel or making videos was just absolutely unthinkable, to be honest with you. And it's taken work for me to get here. It's still work in progress, but you know, I feel that I've made leaps and bounds in terms of the progress as a result of my trainings and, you know, coaching and things like that. So opening up and talking to a counsellor and just being ready to kind of like delve into it myself and lead the session wasn't something that really worked for me because of those deep-rooted issues that I had. What I needed was more guidance, support, I guess somebody helping me to give me some advice on things that I could try and different techniques that would work, and kind of being led a little bit more, being guided a bit more. And that's what I found later on, and I'll come on to telling you a little bit more about that in just a moment. So yeah, that was one of the other things that I tried, and it works for some people, didn't really work for me, but what I tried later on has actually helped me to change the way that my brain works so that I'm now able to open up and talk about the things that matter. And that was the stuff that really, really worked for me. Now, I was very, very lucky to have a few people in my immediate life, in my family, who had also been through clinical depression, who had experienced it, and I'd had good results with looking at alternative ways of managing it. And one of those was my cousin, who is also one of my best friends, who's an incredible human being. And what she did is she had done something called an anti-candida diet. Now, she's also a nutritional therapist and a counsellor. And so it was really important for me to have somebody in my life who not only was able to offer me alternative suggestions and alternative ways of dealing with what I was going through, but had also been through the experience herself, who understood what it meant when I said that I felt like I was trudging through molasses that day, or it felt like I had cotton wool head, or that the day just looked dull and grey, even though it may be bright and sunny outside, when everything looked different and felt different. So it was really useful for me to have somebody to connect with that actually understood what I meant and understood what I was going through. Now, what was also really useful was that she had had really positive results with this anti-candida diet. Now, anti-candida diet is to help with an overgrowth of a type of yeast called candida in the body, which is also known for depressing the immune system. So with her support and with the support of my GP, I decided to wean myself off my antidepressants and do the anti-candida diet. But like I said, it was with the support of a nutritional therapist and with the support of my GP. So the anti-candida diet was a huge success, and I did it for 2 years, which involved removing yeast, refined sugar and alcohol from my diet completely for the entire 2 years, and I stuck to it because it was more important that I was able to find a way of controlling and managing the experience that I was having with clinical depression, and doing that was more important than, you know, experiencing, I guess, the comfort of having those things in my diet. So it was important to me that I made that decision and stuck to it, and I did. And after the 2 years, I was able then to wean myself off the medication, and I definitely experienced a remarkable positive experience of what life was like now with, you know, the candida removed from my system, the overgrowth of candida removed from my system. And even though there was a dramatic improvement in my life, there was still, the depression was still lurking. There was still sort of like an ache that was still sort of roaming through my bones. And I was also experiencing insomnia, and I was reliant on sleep medication for 4 years. But you'll be happy to know that I'm now medication free, and I'll get on to how I've managed to do that just in a little while. But the depression was still there. Obviously, didn't experience the devastatingly low lows in the way that I had done before, but there was definitely still work to be done. So over the course of the 3 years that followed me weaning myself off of medication, I went on quite an intense spiritual journey and personal development journey. I dove into personal development. And over that time, I uncovered issues that had remained unresolved around the lack of boundaries, codependency, and healing my inner child. And one book that I came across which has really helped me, that I'll leave in the description, I'll leave information about it in the description below, is The Healing or Recovery of Your Inner Child by Lucia Capacchione. And I'm not affiliated with her in any way, but it teaches a technique called dual hand dialoguing, which has completely revolutionised my way of thinking and my perception of myself. So it's definitely worth something looking into if doing some inner child work and healing, doing some work around healing your inner child is something that you're interested in doing. Now, that led me to build an awareness or discover other techniques and other interesting practices that are taught by Abraham Hicks. I became interested in meditation, and it was something that I still do to this day. And all of those practices, all of that, it's like a mixing pot of all of the different things that have helped me on that journey to get to a place where my mind was now ready and open for the next step, which was embarking on my training in NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, timeline therapy and hypnotherapy, which definitely, that all of the things that kind of led up to that point had helped to open my mind to the possibility of accepting that there was another way of being in the world. So I hired my first NLP and timeline therapy coach back in 2014, and then did my first trainings starting in February 2015. And it was during those first 2 trainings that I did that I cleared my insomnia and completely cleared my depression. I still experience sadness from time to time from, when something sad happens. If I experience loss or grief, I still feel sad, as we all do, in response to normal, experiences in life. But it's not in the same way. I now have the ability to clear emotions like sadness and like grief from my past, and I'm able to pick up the pieces and put my life back together and get on with it. And that is what these teachings, that is what these methodologies have taught me and given me the ability to do, which is why I am so incredibly passionate about what I do and about using those methodologies and techniques to help other people to do the same thing, to be able to turn their lives around and completely transform their lives using these skills and using these methodologies. And it was all of those other little things that I did, that I also did along the way. The meditation, which I still do, the work, did the work around my inner child and things that helped me. They were almost like little synchronous steps that led me to be, in a place where I was then able to do the NLP and timeline therapy. It guided my journey towards that next step, which is what has had the most fundamental impact in my life. And now I'm the one that's driving the car of my life, not depression driving the car with me being the passenger in it. I'm the one that's in control of my life, and depression just isn't even a thing anymore for me. And it's been miraculous, and that's why it's completely fundamentally changed my life, which is why I now do the work that I do with other people using those methodologies. So for those of you who are not familiar with the terms NLP and timeline therapy, NLP stands for neuro-linguistic programming, which is the study of excellence and how thinking creates behaviour and allows us to create behaviour of excellence by changing the way that we think. So neuro refers to the brain and the way that we make sense of the world around us using our 5 senses of sight, hearing, feelings, taste, smells, and also our self-talk. Linguistic refers to language, the way that we make sense of the world using our language, and also the impact that language has on our neurology. and also the language of the brain, which again is the pictures, the sounds, the feelings, the smells, the tastes, and also again our self-talk. And programming refers to the programs that we run in our lives, the way that we actually operate in our lives, and that's all produced by what's going on in our brain. And we all run programs, whether it's from, we use these patterns of behaviour, whether it's from, sleeping, eating, driving, to being depressed. And when you learn and understand what those patterns are, you can fundamentally change them so that they're no longer running the way that they used to, but they run in a way that works for you instead. Timeline therapy is a technique or a body of techniques created by Dr. Tad James. And it is without a shadow of a doubt the most powerful and effective technique that I've ever come across for clearing emotions like sadness, like depression, from a person's past. And I know that they work because I'm testament to that fact. After experiencing clinical depression for as long as I could remember, from at least the age of 5 up until about 3 years ago, I now live a completely medication-free life. I am free from clinical depression and free from insomnia and many other issues that used to plague my life. And I know that they work. And these techniques work in a miraculously short space of time. And by short, I mean instantly. We're working at the unconscious level, and when change happens at the unconscious level, it happens in an instant. It happens instantaneously. So these techniques and these body of techniques are fundamentally what has changed my life. All of the other things taken into consideration, all of the little steps that I told you about that led me to being in a position where I was then introduced to NLP or became aware of how impactful it could be in my recovery journey, they all help to a degree, but removing those and putting those to one side, I know without a shadow of a doubt that it is the neurolinguistic programming and the timeline therapy and also some hypnotherapy which have helped me to completely recover from clinical depression. So those are the things that have worked for me. So now it is my quest to share this information with other people, whether that's through social media, through coaching one-to-one, through workshops, trainings, seminars. And I want people to know that there are other options available, that there are ways of dealing with and completely recovering from things like insomnia, clinical depression, anxiety. Now, NLP and timeline therapy and hypnotherapy are so wide-ranging and cover, helping people with dealing with such a wide range of problems. It's not just the ones that I've mentioned, but that was my experience, and so that's why I'm passionate about getting this information out to you. I was asked the question to share my journey and let you know what has actually worked and helped me completely recover from clinical depression, and those things, the hypnotherapy, the timeline therapy and NLP, neurolinguistic programming, are the things that have fundamentally helped me to transform my life. So I hope this has given you some food for thought. I hope it has given you some hope that things can be different for you too, because they can. Please do reach out if you feel that this is something that I can help you with. I will leave my email in the description below, and get in touch with me and let's start a conversation about how things could be different for you. I would really love it if you would share this video with other people who you think might benefit from hearing it, and share with them that things can be different for them too. Give me a like and also subscribe to my channel. And it's been really amazing for me to get this information out and share with you the possible alternatives for you. And like I said at the start of this video, nothing that I say is prescriptive. This is my journey, this is what has helped me, it's what has helped my clients. And it's important that any changes that you make to your program of therapy, if you are in one, is done in conjunction with your practitioners that you're already working with, so you can get the complete support all around with what you're going through. So that's important to remind you about, and do your research. And then obviously if it's something that you would like my help and support with, then please do get in touch. Okay, so I've loved making this video. It's been, like I said, probably a longer one. I'm not sure how long, but I think it's been a longer one than my normal videos, but I wanted to give you all the information that I could. So I will make another video again really soon. Okay, bye for now.